Hello and a very warm welcome to the brand new edition of To The Point. I'm Kriti Mishra. And on today's show, my guest is State Bank of India Chief, Mr. Rajneesh Kumar. Mr. Kumar, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television and thank you so much for joining us in this era of social distancing from Mumbai through Skype, sir.
Yeah, it is too much distancing.
Right, sir. First and foremost, what is your interpretation of the recent policy measures announced by the government with an economic stimulus package of 20 lakh crore rupees?
No, the package, as the Honorable Prime Minister and later on the Honorable Finance Minister has mentioned, that the aim is to make India Atmanirbhar, self-reliant India. One, and that the second is, of course, that there is a need to revive the economy, and the measures are around labor reforms and injection of liquidity in the system. So there's a debate around that whether more fiscal could have been done or whether this is sufficient or not sufficient. I'm not going into that debate, but some of the measures which have been taken, they will have far-reaching impact on the Indian economy and the way the business is done in this country. Some of the measures like 3 trillion rupees, 3 lakh crore का जो एक MSME के लिए स्कीम है, जैसे 3 लाख करोड़ का जो MSME के लिए लोन स्कीम है, जिसका रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट काफी कम रखा गया है, और वो इसलिए क्योंकि बैंक जो भी वो लेंडिंग करेंगे उसमें कोई कैपिटल नहीं देंगे, तो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ये नहीं है कि बिना वजह कम है, उसकी भी वजह है जब सरकार वो पैसे की गारंटी कर रही है तो बैंकों को कोई कैपिटल नहीं लगानी पड़ती है, तो वो पूरा बेनिफिट कस्टमर को पास ऑन हो जाता है। एक बड़ा स्टेप NBFC को सपोर्ट देना, जिसमें कि जो बॉन्ड पोर्टफोलियो परचेज हम लोग करेंगे बैंक्स, उसकी गारंटी देगी सरकार। 30,000 करोड़ का जो है एक अलग से स्कीम जिसमें कि गवर्नमेंट गारंटी करेगी और RBI जो है वो लिक्विडिटी प्रोवाइड करेगा। पावर सेक्टर को PFC REC के थ्रू 90,000 करोड़ की लिक्विडिटी। तो ये कुछ ऐसे सेक्टर थे MSME, पावर, NBFC, जिनको सपोर्ट करने की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत थी। ऐसा नहीं है, कुछ और भी सेक्टर हैं जैसे एविएशन है, टूरिज्म है, होटल है, उनके ऊपर भी इम्पैक्ट जरूर आया है, लेकिन अभी फिलहाल जो भी सरकार के स्टेप्स हैं अगर उसमें देखें तो जो एक दिशा भी नजर आती है कि जो सबसे नीचे के गरीब लोग हैं या पिरामिड में जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं, बॉटम ऑफ द पिरामिड, उनको डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर दिया गया या फूड की सपोर्ट दी गई। उसके बाद MSMEs आती हैं जो छोटे उद्योग हैं, उनके लिए सपोर्ट हो गया। NBFCs एक इंटरमीडिएशन का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट काम करती है, उनका सपोर्ट हो गया। पावर सेक्टर में कुछ दिक्कतें थी, उनके लिए फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट है। अभी देखिए, सरकार के लिए ये भी संभव नहीं होता है कि हर एक के खाते में और पैसा जमा कर दे, गरीब आदमी को भी करें, कॉर्पोरेट्स को भी दें, MSME को दें और सबको पैसा बांट दें। मुझे नहीं लगता है कि इतने जो है साधन भी सरकार के पास है कि पूरा सबके खाते में पैसा जमा कर दे। मुझे भी अच्छा लगेगा, आपको भी अच्छा लगेगा कि सरकार हमारे खाते में पैसा जमा कर दे, लेकिन ऐसा संभव नहीं है। और मैं समझता हूँ कि जैसे जैसे अब हम लोग लॉकडाउन से एग्जिट कर रहे हैं और बिजनेसेस का रिवाइवल हो रहा है, तो सप्लाई साइड के काफी इश्यूज जो है वो एड्रेस हो गए। डिमांड जरूर अभी इकोनॉमी में रिवाइव करने की बहुत बड़ी आवश्यकता है।
Absolutely, that's a very important point that you made, that we have to revive demand and consumption. But before that, sir, talking about the moves or the measures unveiled by the Reserve Bank of India, the central bank unveiled and announced a slew of measures to help banks and borrowers tide over the crisis that was unveiled by the coronavirus pandemic. The impact ahead of this, according to you?
No, Reserve Bank of India, I think they have taken steps in a very timely manner and in a very calibrated manner. And starting from 27 March, then 17th April, and then the latest announcements which were made last week in the month of May. So one is that the most significant trend was about 6 months moratorium and standstill on the asset classification in respect of accounts as on whatever was the asset classification as on 29th of February. So that was one major step. Reserve Bank has provided through LTRO, TLTRO, liquidity, enough liquidity to the system. Then by reducing the repo rate quite sharply, the signaling is that the interest rates have to come down, and the priority is to revive the growth in the economy. So providing enough liquidity, reducing the cost of borrowing for the borrowers, and the measures around where there is a disruption in the cash flow of the household as well as the corporate. Providing 6 months moratorium or deferment. I think these are the steps which takes a lot of care about the banking system, and as well as ensuring that money is available to meet the needs of the economy at an affordable price. I think all these steps have been very calibrated. They are timely, and I heard to the speech of the Honorable Governor, and it is very clear that RBI is keeping a very close watch on the situation, and whenever required and as the situation develops, they would take more steps, whatever is needed. But the priority, what I could make out, and which is the right approach also, that as of now, everyone has to be concerned about how do we revive the growth in the economy. So whatever Reserve Bank needs to done, they have already done, and more steps are required. I'm sure they will take it, and same is true for the banking system in the country.
Absolutely, sir. But you mentioned about moratorium. Now, there was a lot of confusion among customers about this moratorium. Uh, so, in this scenario, how is SBI proactively reaching out to eligible loan customers to simplify things for them and to ensure that they get the benefit of this moratorium announced by the Reserve Bank of India?
See, we have given the moratorium across the board, in the sense that in our systems, all the recovery of payment and installment that has been deferred for this in respect of term loans, and that recovery will be made after the end of the term. For the working capital interest, there is a separate dispensation. Up to 31st August, no recovery, and after that, in 7 installments, starting from 1st September. So we have informed all our customers. Only those customers who do not want to avail the moratorium, because there is some cost associated
Yes.
with it. If you don't pay your principal and interest, there is no penalty or nothing, but still the interest continues on whatever you borrow. So it is important for the bank also to reach out to the customer and in a transparent manner tell them that what is the impact of this moratorium. And if they don't want to avail that moratorium, they can tell us that I don't want to avail. And if they want to avail, that is automatically available anyway. And for all the non-banking finance companies, we have said that case by case, we will examine each and every case. And once we have analyzed their cash budget, and we know that what is the purpose of the moratorium and raising the money, so that also we will do in a very liberal and a balanced manner.
So that was the cushion provided by the RBI and thereafter transmitted by the banks. But Indian banks were at the end of a prolonged NPA cleanup cycle. Now, many experts believe or expect a significant spike in the NPAs going ahead, which may not be visible immediately since the Reserve Bank of India has extended regulatory relaxations. What is your take on that, sir?
But there is a problem in the real economy. So some of it is definitely going to be reflected in the balance sheet of the banks. That cannot be denied. And we would know only starting from September now. Because as you rightly mentioned, that there is a moratorium up to 31st August. And when the repayment starts from September, we would know the correct position. But here again, the position will be different from bank to bank, sector to sector, and account to account. And there will be some elevation in the MPs. But at this point of time, everybody is making a guess. Nobody is sure that how the situation will turn out to be.
Sir, and what is the current scenario of credit offtake?
Credit offtake, let me tell you that the growth which I see for the bank, what we call YOY growth, the State Bank of India, it is about 5%, and this 5% is continuing for quite some time. When we look at YTD means that from 1st April till say yesterday, there is a negative growth, but that happens every year. It is not that this is happening something this year. So credit offtake is much lower and sluggish for last several months. And what I'm expecting that as the lockdown gets lifted, the demand for credit will come back. Right now we are flush with funds. There's a lot of deposit which is coming in. This is I'm saying about SBI, and I'm sure that
Yes,
is
sir.
more or less the situation with all other banks also. Some banks are growing faster than others in deposit growth. The State Bank of India, for example, our deposit growth in excess of 16% on a year-on-year basis, so which is unprecedented growth for State Bank of India because our deposit base is very large. But because of the thrust on reviving the demand, the schemes which government has announced about the MSME and BFC, plus the corporates, because of the lockdown, they are operating at much lower capacity. In April, it was down to 25 to 30% capacity utilization. It has picked up of late to 70% or so. So the demand for funds will now come. So I'm expecting that there will be a pickup in credit growth. But right now we can say it has been very sluggish.
So you are expecting a pickup in the credit growth, but in the near term, how do you expect to prioritize asset quality, stress management, and capital preservation?
So one is that as far as the asset quality is concerned, as I said, that even within the lockdown period, we are in touch, all our relationship managers, with all the clients, whether they are individual borrowers, whether they are agriculturists, MSME, corporates. It's very important to understand what is happening to the cash flow of the customer, who is in a position to pay and who is not. So that is one. Second is that once the lockdown lifts and the cash flow situation improves, so the effort of the bank in contacting all our clients, as I said, that depending upon their cash situation, our collection effort would go on. Plus, wherever whatever help is required to any client in terms of any enhanced working capital in particular, so that action bank will also take. Otherwise, again, talking about the State Bank of India, the balance sheet of the bank is very strong because a lot of cleanup has happened in the last 3 years. Again, that is true for most of the public sector banks, that they have improved their balance sheet. They have improved their provision coverage ratio on the existing non-performing loans in the last 3 years. So in a much better and a stronger position than what all the public sector banks were 3 years ago. Now, whatever happens, as I said, that everybody is making a guess, but nobody knows that how the situation would unfold on the asset quality front. But the approach of the bank would be to be sympathetic to the situation of all our borrowers, whether it is households, as I said, or agriculture or corporates, and be in constant dialogue with them and impress upon the need to pay in time whenever they can. And if in case some restructuring is required, the bank will not hesitate to restructure also. And at the same time, the provision coverage ratio, that cushion we will continue to build. And that would be the strategy of the bank, that even if that means that the declared profit is not as high, but the effort would be that the provision coverage ratio for any new NPs that is also kept at a higher level. And whenever the time is right, many of the banks, depending upon their own situation, they may have to raise capital. And if required, again, because that assessment is yet to be done, but for public sector banks, maybe there will be a situation where government also may have to provide some capital to some of the banks, not everyone, but some of the banks.
So we are living in these testing times, and we saw that out of cycle rate cuts by the RBI to tide over the crisis caused by COVID 19. But do you think that there's a further room for cutting interest rates now?
As I said, that Reserve Bank of India, they are very keenly watching the situation, and the priority has shifted to the demand revival and the growth of the economy. And in the process, if it is required, and of course with an eye on inflation, but growth will be the priority. In such a scenario, if it is required that interest rate needs to be cut, I don't think Reserve Bank would hesitate in doing that.
And how do you look at Indian banks' overseas business and the risk that would emerge because of slowdown in the economies across globe?
So across the globe, the situation more or less wherever we operate, some of the countries, the situation is more or less the same as in NTI in terms of the impact on the economy, or at places it is severe, more severe. At some of the countries, it is not as severe. And everywhere, the regulators have taken a softer instance. And the signals are that at this time of crisis, businesses, borrowers, they need to be helped. And that is universally, I'm finding that is the approach of the regulators. So our strategy, one that our book is very diversified across the geographies, across the business segments. We are keeping a watch, and whatever are the regulatory dispensations available, we will be making use of them. But as of now, the situation is not alarming. But I'm not saying that we can take the situation in a relaxed manner. Every time we have to be very, very alert, keep a watch on the situation, and take proactive measures. And there is an action plan where we are in the process of putting in place a strategy around that. How will we manage our P&L? How will we manage stressed asset? How will we manage our HR resources? How will we ramp up further our digital capabilities? So everything we have more or less put in place, and we are ready to deal with this situation.
Right, sir. And before we end this conversation, sir, we had the figures of GDP growth in the Q4 and also for the last fiscal, which stood at 4.2%. That probably surpassed the expectations of many analysts. Do you think a V shaped recovery is possible next year?
Anybody's guess, because there will be some pent-up demand, and it can so happen that the demand comes back very quickly. But that would also depend that what is the public's mood or people's mood and response to the COVID situation. Another key issue is that what happens to the COVID going forward. So there is a need for change in the consumer sentiment also. I don't think at this point of time people are in the mood to make any buying decisions. Most of us, everybody has kept any buying decision on hold. So for a V-shaped recovery, it presumes that immediately you are going to change that sentiment and that decision. So V-shaped recovery, to me, it looks a bit difficult. It may take longer time. But the steps which the government has taken to attract the investment in several new sectors like mining, defense, a lot of sectors have been opened up. So, and only 6 months back, we had the corporate tax rate cut, which has put India on a very competitive plane as compared to other countries. We are very competitive as far as the corporate tax rates are concerned. So it may so happen that investment just starts coming back. It will be very important that the investment comes from the private sector. But I think it's a bit away because we have not overcome the COVID situation. It is still we are seeing that the number of cases are increasing. For India, at least, luckily, the mortality rate is not very high and very much in control. But still, there is some sort of a concern among everyone's mind about the COVID situation. So that needs to change. But if private sector investment gets revived, and India being a very large country, and demographics are in favor of India, plus the lucky or the brightest spot has been the agriculture.
Yes.
So it is not that recovery is not happening, but it's very difficult to predict a V-shaped recovery.
And sir, before we let you go, sir, your suggestion on reviving demand.
No, as I was mentioning, that for revival of the demand, one is that we need to change the consumer sentiment. That is one. And second is, of course, people need to have money in their pocket to
Yes.
spend. And third is that lot of investment needs to be made, and largely it has to be driven by the private sector. We can spend huge amount of money on the infrastructure. And once that investment happens, it creates more jobs. There have been considerable job losses in the COVID area. So job needs to come back because when there are jobs, automatically that gives a push to the demand. So it is a combination of both, that how much money people have, whether they are willing to spend money or just happy keeping it for future or save it. But some spending is required, and that can happen only when there is more money in the hands of the people and they are in a mood to spend it. And the other is, of course, on the investment side, where big investment in infrastructure and the manufacturing sector is required, which in turn will create the jobs. And it is all, it is a cycle. We have to revive that virtuous cycle.
Absolutely, sir. We do hope that India is able to revive that cycle. But Mr. Kumar, you joined us from Mumbai. Thank you so much for giving us those important inputs about banking sector and India's economy. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.